Imagine a man running for his life in the woods. Behind him, a wolf charges with relentless fury, its claws tearing through the air. He stumbles upon a cave and leaps in without hesitation, anything to escape the predator behind him. But as he crawls in, his relief turns to dread. At the back of the cave lies a coiled snake, its fangs glinting in the dim light, ready to strike. Before he can crawl into either fate, his hands grasp a metal jutting out from the wall. For now, he squats between two horrors, the wolf prowling above, waiting for him to crawl back out, and the snake, patient but deadly. As if this weren't enough, two huge spiders emerge from a hole in the wall and begin crawling in his direction. His arachnophobia sets in. Panic rises in his chest. What should he do? Is there any way out? This ancient Buddhist parable isn't just about survival, it's about existence itself. Life often feels like hanging by a thread, caught between forces beyond our control. We chase success only to find failure lurking beneath it. We cling to security while knowing it could vanish at any moment. And yet, here's the paradox. Even when everything seems hopeless, freedom might still be within reach. But how? How can you find peace when every direction leads to suffering? Consider the honey dripping from a beech tree near the edge of the cave. It catches the man's eye, golden and sweet against the bleakness of his predicament. Instead of succumbing to despair, he stretches out his tongue and tastes the sweetness. In that moment, amidst chaos and terror, he finds joy, not because his circumstances have changed, but because he has shifted his focus. Now ask yourself, what would you do in his place? Would you scream in frustration, curse your misfortune, or give up entirely? Or would you pause long enough to notice the honey? This question cuts deeper than the story itself. It challenges the very foundation of how we approach pain, fear, and uncertainty. Why do some people crumble under pressure while others rise above it? What makes the difference between resilience and ruin? The answer begins to emerge when we look closer, at psychology, at philosophy, at ourselves. Picture Viktor Frankl leaning forward, his voice calm but urgent. He survived Auschwitz, where prisoners faced unimaginable brutality, yet he observed something extraordinary. Those who endured weren't necessarily the strongest physically. They were the ones who found meaning in their suffering. They held on to hope, purpose, or even small moments of beauty amid despair. Like the man in the cave licking honey, they chose to see possibility where others saw only doom. Yet here lies the contradiction. Modern society teaches us to avoid discomfort at all costs. We're conditioned to seek pleasure, numb pain, and chase quick fixes. When hardship strikes, we label it as unfair or unbearable, forgetting that struggle is intrinsic to being alive. Could it be that our resistance to pain amplifies it? That fighting the inevitable only binds us tighter to suffering? To complicate matters further, consider Carl Jung's concept of the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we deny or suppress. Fear, anger, grief. These emotions are natural responses to life's hardships, yet many of us try to bury them instead of confronting them. By rejecting these aspects of ourselves, we create inner turmoil that mirrors the external chaos around us. The wolf and the snake aren't merely external threats. They symbolize internal conflicts we must face before true liberation becomes possible. And yet, despite the weight of these insights, there remains a flicker of hope, a possibility that perhaps it's not too late. Perhaps the key to surviving life's toughest tests isn't escaping danger, but transforming our relationship with it. What if the solution lies not in changing your circumstances, but in shifting your perception? Before we proceed, pause for a moment. Look inward. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt trapped? between responsibilities, fears, or failures. Did you ever stop to ask whether the trap was real or simply a story you told yourself? Why do we suffer? Is it the wolf behind, the snake ahead, or the spiders chewing at our fragile grip on life? Or is it something deeper, something within us that amplifies our pain and keeps us trapped in cycles of despair? To answer this, we must journey into the hidden forces that shape human behavior, emotions, and identity. These forces are not external. They live inside us, woven into the fabric of our minds by psychology, philosophy, and societal conditioning. Consider Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, who introduced the concept of learned helplessness. In experiments with dogs, he discovered that when animals were repeatedly exposed to uncontrollable adversity, they stopped trying to escape, even when escape was possible. Humans behave similarly. When faced with hardship, many of us internalize a belief that nothing we do matters. We convince ourselves that we're powerless, that life is inherently unfair, and that suffering is inevitable. But here's the unsettling truth. Much of our suffering stems not from the challenges themselves, but from how we interpret them. The man in the cave didn't have to taste the honey, but he chose to. His decision transformed his experience, proving that perception shapes reality far more than circumstances ever could. Now picture Albert Ellis, the pioneer of rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT, leaning forward with quiet intensity. Ellis argued that humans disturb themselves through irrational beliefs about the world. For instance, believing, "I must succeed at everything," or "others should always treat me kindly," sets you up for disappointment because these demands are unrealistic. Life rarely conforms to our expectations, and clinging to rigid beliefs only magnifies distress. When the man in the cave noticed the honey, he wasn't denying his predicament. He was choosing to focus on what lay within his control. Modern psychology echoes this wisdom. Resilience doesn't mean avoiding pain. It means learning to manage your response to it. Societal forces further entrench these patterns. From childhood, we're taught to equate happiness with achievement, security with material wealth, and worthiness with external validation. Social media amplifies this message, showing curated highlight reels of perfection. Yet behind every polished post lies vulnerability, a reminder that no one escapes struggle, no matter how flawless their facade. Take Eva, a young professional scrolling endlessly through Instagram during a stressful work week. Her feed is filled with images of peers traveling, celebrating promotions, and living seemingly effortless lives. Each scroll leaves her feeling smaller, diminished, further from her own sense of purpose. Fear convinces her that visibility equals vulnerability, solitude equals safety. But deep down, she knows the comparison game is rigged. It thrives on dissatisfaction, keeping her perpetually hungry for more without ever satisfying her soul. Similarly, Jeff, a college student juggling classes, part-time jobs, and family responsibilities, struggles to find balance. His calendar is packed, yet he feels unproductive because nothing ever seems finished. He blames himself for poor time management, but the real culprit is overload. Society conditions him to believe that doing more equals being more, and when he can't keep up, he internalizes failure. This cultural narrative normalizes exhaustion as a badge of honor, turning overwhelm into a silent epidemic. Here's the paradox. While modern life offers unprecedented opportunities for growth, connection, and innovation, it also traps us in systems designed to exploit our insecurities. Advertisements sell products under the guise of efficiency. Buy this planner, use this app, drink this energy shot, all promising to make life easier. Yet technology, intended to connect us, often amplifies anxiety. Notifications ping incessantly, creating a false sense of urgency. Social media platforms creates echo chambers where comparison thrives, fostering envy and fear of missing out, leaving users disconnected from themselves and others, and amplifying feelings of imperfection and dissatisfaction. In this digital age, suffering isn't just personal, it's collective, woven into the fabric of our interconnected lives. To complicate matters further, consider Tara Brach, a contemporary psychologist and mindfulness teacher who speaks of the trance of unworthiness. Many people walk through life burdened by shame, believing they aren't enough, smart enough, successful enough, lovable enough. This belief acts as a lens, distorting their view of the world and reinforcing feelings of inadequacy. When the man in the cave tasted the honey, he momentarily stepped out of this trance. He reminded himself that joy exists even in darkness, that sweetness can be found where bitterness prevails. Mindfulness practices like meditation and self-compassion train the brain to recognize these distorted thoughts, offering tools to break free from their grip. This way, suffering becomes unbearable when it lacks purpose. By shifting his focus to the honey, the man in the well gave meaning to his ordeal. He demonstrated that even in the face of hopelessness, action, however small, can transform despair into dignity. So how do we dismantle the structures that sustain suffering? How do we rewrite the scripts that limit our potential? The answers lie in confronting the mechanisms that sustain it, the cognitive biases, emotional triggers, and societal narratives that keep it alive. Only by exposing these hidden forces can we begin to dismantle them. Before moving forward, take a moment to reflect. Which scripts govern your life? Which voices, internal or external, dictate your actions? And most importantly, are you ready to challenge them? Suffering doesn't announce itself. It sneaks in through the cracks of our daily routines, quietly shaping how we think, feel, and act. These patterns aren't random. They're deeply ingrained systems of thought and behavior reinforced by culture, biology, and personal experience. They operate beneath the surface, dictating our responses to hardship without us even realizing it. And while these mechanisms may have once served a purpose, protecting us from danger or helping us adapt, they often outlive their usefulness, trapping us in cycles of pain and stagnation. Take neuroplasticity, for example, the brain's remarkable ability to rewire itself based on repeated experiences. When faced with adversity, your brain defaults to familiar pathways, even if those pathways lead to suffering. If you've spent years believing that failure defines you, your mind will cling to that narrative, filtering every setback through the lens of inadequacy. This mental conditioning isn't just abstract theory. It manifests in real-world behaviors. When Jeff, the college student introduced earlier, finds himself paralyzed by overwhelm, not because he lacks talent, but because his brain has been trained to equate effort with exhaustion. Every task feels insurmountable because his mind anticipates struggle before he even begins. Modern neuroscience sheds light on this phenomenon. Rick Hansen, a psychologist known for his work on the negativity bias, explains why humans are wired to focus on threats and challenges rather than opportunities. Our ancestors needed this survival mechanism to detect predators and avoid danger. But in today's world, it often backfires. Instead of protecting us, this bias amplifies stress and anxiety, convincing us that problems are permanent and pervasive. Cultural narratives further cement these patterns. Think about the stories society tells us about success: hustle harder, aim higher, never settle. These messages normalize extremes, fostering envy, inadequacy, and fear of failure. Now consider Gabor Mate, a physician and author who explores the intersection of trauma and addiction. He argues that much of human behavior stems from unmet needs and unresolved wounds. When we suppress emotions like grief, anger, or shame, they don't disappear, they fester, manifesting as anxiety, depression, or chronic illness. The man in the cave didn't eliminate the wolf, snake, or spiders, but he chose to focus on the honey instead. By shifting his attention, he demonstrated a powerful truth. Healing begins when we acknowledge our pain without letting it define us. Yet here lies these invisible patterns thrive on invisibility. The more we ignore them, the tighter their grip becomes. And yet, breaking free requires more than awareness. It demands action. It means challenging the stories we tell ourselves, questioning the beliefs that hold us back, and embracing discomfort as a necessary step toward growth. As we prepare to unveil the breakthrough realization, a radical shift in perspective that challenges everything you thought you knew, pause for a moment. Reflect on the ways these patterns have shaped your life, which societal beliefs echo in your mind, and most importantly, are you ready to rewrite them? What if the solution to life's toughest tests isn't about escaping pain, but transforming how we relate to it? This is the moment to challenge everything you thought you knew. Suffering doesn't have to be a life sentence. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. The key lies in shifting your mindset, embracing counterintuitive truths, and reclaiming agency over your inner world. Let's turn to Eckhart Tolle, whose teachings on presence offer a profound insight. Much of our suffering exists not in the present moment, but in the stories we tell ourselves about the past or future. When the man in the cave tasted the honey, he wasn't denying his predicament. He was choosing to anchor himself in the now. Modern psychology supports this idea. Studies show that mindfulness practices, focusing on the present without judgment, reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. By training your mind to stay grounded, you break free from the mental loops that amplify suffering. Instead of ruminating on what's wrong, you learn to ask, what's right here, right now? Now picture Angela Duckworth, renowned for her research on grit, leaning forward with quiet resolve. She argues that resilience isn't about extraordinary talent or luck. It's about perseverance and passion for long-term goals. But here's the twist. Grit isn't just about pushing harder, it's about finding meaning in the struggle. When an aspiring writer shifts his focus from perfection to progress, he discovers that writing isn't about producing flawless work, it's about expressing himself authentically. Each sentence he writes becomes a small act of defiance against the voice of self-doubt. Over time, these acts accumulate, building confidence and momentum. History offers countless examples of individuals who embraced this mindset. Consider Frankl, who survived Auschwitz by focusing on love, purpose, and the unfinished manuscript he hoped to publish. Or Malala Yousafzai, who transformed trauma into triumph by advocating for education despite unimaginable adversity. These figures remind us that resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about using it as fuel for growth. As Nietzsche famously declared, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." Strength arises not from eradicating suffering, but from integrating it into your story. But how do you begin this transformation? Start with small, deliberate actions. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, emphasizes the power of micro-changes. Want to build resilience? Focus on one tiny habit at a time. Meditate for 2 minutes. Journal one gratitude. Celebrate one win, no matter how small. These incremental shifts may seem insignificant, but they compound over time, rewiring your brain and reshaping your reality. Jeff, overwhelmed by her responsibilities, starts setting a timer for focused work sessions. At first, He aims for just 10 minutes, but soon those minutes stretch into hours. By lowering the bar, he tricks his brain into action, proving that progress doesn't require perfection. Another powerful tool is reframing failure. Society teaches us to fear mistakes, but Brené Brown, a researcher on vulnerability, argues that failure is essential for growth. When you embrace imperfection, you liberate yourself from the paralysis of perfectionism. The man in the cave didn't wait for ideal conditions to taste the honey, he acted despite them. His choice reminds us that waiting for certainty only prolongs suffering. Action, however imperfect, creates momentum. Finally, consider Tara Brach's concept of radical acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality without resistance. When Eva stops comparing herself to others on social media and begins celebrating her unique journey, she discovers a sense of peace she'd been chasing all along. Acceptance transforms overwhelm into opportunity, fear into courage, and despair into hope. As we prepare to unveil the final revelation, a paradigm shift so profound it will redefine how you see reality. Pause for a moment. Reflect on the tools you've encountered: presence, purpose, small actions, reframing failure, and radical acceptance. Which resonates most deeply with you? And are you ready to use it? For years, perhaps decades, you viewed life as a series of battles to be fought. The wolf behind, the snake ahead, the spider chewing, stepping on your last nerve. But now, as you gaze at the horizon, you realize something extraordinary. The struggle was never about escaping danger. It was about learning to dance with it. Suffering isn't an enemy to conquer. It's a teacher guiding you toward deeper understanding and freedom. This is the final revelation, the truth that redefines everything. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Not in a dismissive way, as if hardship can simply be willed away, but in a transformative way. Suffering arises when we resist what is, clinging to how we think life should be rather than embracing how it unfolds. When the man in the cave tasted the honey, he didn't eliminate his circumstances, he changed his relationship with them. He demonstrated that liberation lies not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in finding peace within chaos. To understand this fully, let's return to Alan Watts, the philosopher who bridged Eastern wisdom and Western thought. He often spoke of life as a flowing river, ever-changing and unpredictable. Resistance to its currents only leads to exhaustion, while surrender allows you to move with grace. Modern neuroscience echoes this insight. Brain imaging studies show that acceptance of discomfort activates regions associated with emotional regulation, reducing the intensity of suffering. By letting go of the need to control every outcome, you step into alignment with life's natural rhythms. Consider the Buddhist teaching of impermanence, the idea that all things, both good and bad, are transient. This principle isn't just philosophical, it's deeply practical. When Eva stopped fixating on social media comparisons and began focusing on her own journey, she discovered joy in unexpected places. Her shift wasn't about ignoring challenges, but recognizing their fleeting nature. As Epictetus wisely noted, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing how to respond, you reclaim power over your experience. Now picture Carl Rogers, the pioneering psychologist who emphasized self-acceptance as a path to growth. He believed that true change begins when we embrace ourselves fully, with all our flaws, fears, and contradictions. The man in the cave didn't deny his predicament. He acknowledged it while also seeking beauty amidst despair. His act of tasting the honey symbolizes a profound truth. Healing doesn't come from rejecting parts of yourself, but from integrating them. Only then can you step into wholeness. Here's the crux. Suffering loses its grip when you stop fighting it. Viktor Frankl described this process as tragic optimism, finding meaning even in the face of adversity. Life will always present wolves, snakes, and spiders, but it also offers honey. Your task isn't to eliminate the threats, but to train your eyes to see the sweetness hidden in plain sight. As we close this journey, I leave you with this cinematic image. You are standing once again at the edge of that ocean, waves stretching endlessly before you. The sky shifts from stormy gray to radiant gold, mirroring the ebb and flow of your own life. Behind you lies the cave, its dangers still present, but no longer defining you. Ahead lies infinite possibility, shaped not by external forces, but by the choices you make each day. Will you cling to fear, or will you taste the honey? Go now. Step boldly. Live authentically. And remember, the toughest tests aren't meant to break you. They're meant to reveal your strength.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was insightful and educative. If you like this video, do well to click like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos like this. See you later. Bye.